We have the Aprilia SR150 race over here. Does look very exciting. Be a racer. This definitely is the best looking scooter on Indian roads today according to me. Wherever we went, the Aprilia turned heads, but I was more interested about its performance. I have fond memories of this scooter because the first time I saw it in the standard variant, of course, it was at the Auto Expo, and in that Aprilia booth I met the most beautiful and helpful hostess of Auto Expo, my friend Aga, and she was on the MotoGP bike, and she was very helpful and she let me shoot the MotoGP bike. Right next to Aga was this beautiful scooter in its standard variant, and of course all the guys were drooling over the 210 V4 and the RS V4, whereas all the girls in that booth were looking at this and they were really impressed. After more than a year, actually, I'm finally riding it. This was one scooter that I wanted to ride, and it's not because of the looks, it's because of what this promises. And, you know, the only other time I've reviewed a scooter on my channel, it was when I was doing the review of Honda Navi, and that just speaks that I don't do too many scooters. But the Navi was something unique, and not in the means of power or anything. See, that's how things go around here. The seat is a bit too soft for my liking. You know, it's one of those ultra soft seats where you actually kind of sink in. The seat is supposed to be like, it is supposed to be firm, right? It is not firm. The seat is moving around because when I'm pushing into the left, actually I'm sinking into the seat further, which doesn't help in the handling. I mean, I thought Bajaj had soft seats, but this one is way too soft, and I'm not liking that. First impressions, you know, this is not one of the most comfortable scooters if you're looking for that. Ride quality is a bit on the firm side. The suspension is on the firm side. The front suspension does feel more like a motorcycle suspension than a scooter suspension, but that is what you'd expect out of what's claimed to be India's fastest scooter. It's not one of those decent handling scooters. It's one of the best handling scooters that I've ridden. Now, I'm not really very much of an expert when it comes to scooter handlings, but as far as this goes, this is one of the best. Now I'm riding it actually in the motorcycle mode, which is keeping my feet on the rear foot pegs, pillion foot pegs, and the truth is this is how I prefer riding it. It's not bottoming out over the hard bumpy surfaces, but we are going through a lot of bumps, and it's not the best of the feeling. Not the scooter for exact bumpy roads. I mean, I'm already feeling some sort of tiredness. Alright, full blast. Whatever the vibration's coming through, it's coming through my hands, and I'm wearing nice leather gauntlets, the Dainese ones. I really like these, and it's supposed to filter out some vibration. It has worked in almost all motorcycles. Now this is not vibration coming from the motorcycle engine itself. It is the vibration that's coming because we're riding on a very bumpy road, and honestly this isn't something that I want to ride on a very bumpy road. Now let's talk a little bit about braking. The brakes are superbly solid, both the front and the rear. And scooters, they're not the front brake only sort of stuff, because there's more weight towards the rear. The engine is at the back, so of course the front brake only doesn't work. On a motorcycle, front brakes are like, on a naked it might be 70%. On a sport bike it's about 80 to 90% these days. Braking is done using the front, but on a scooter, because you have the engine on the back, you have to do some sort of balanced braking. I'd like to do a 50-50 sort of braking, but this one, the front brake feels really nice because it's got a disc. It's got a 220mm single disc up front, and that is basically what motorcycles get on the rear. But for a scooter this size, something this light and of this 150cc, making about 10 bhp of power, I would say it's good enough. There is one major issue that we detected with the scooter, and it makes the scooter lose its stability under hard braking. Both the front and rear brakes have immense stopping power, and the rear is easy to lock up, as anyone can guess. So you are better off doing the braking 50-50, but under hard braking the front suspension isn't getting compressed, which means the front is light even under hard braking, and it's making the front skid very easily. That's also locking up the front wheel. This can be a major cause of concern. It's not a problem with the brakes, but just that if Aprilia India is listening, they can just retune the front forks and decrease the preload a bit. I think it will solve everything. A lot of people do ask how fast it is. Let's feel faster than wow, we're already over 80 kilometers of speed. It's frighteningly quick how fast it goes to 80. That's nice. Bridge over there, right? Pretty nice ride across the bridge. For a scooter, you just have to hold that thing. It's going to 100 pretty fast. Let's try. Okay, there was a lot of bumps in that road, but we got to about 80, I think. Let's see how it does on the U-turns. It does pretty well. Let's do some like flicks. Yeah, it's pretty flickable, pretty nice. Not as flickable as a motorcycle. The front end does move around a little bit, it is a hard suspension, there's no doubt about that, but it does move around a bit. My verdict is kind of split. Of course, a lot of you guys must be thinking, what is the power? Because this is like the fastest scooter, and it does have an automatic CVT, and I'm riding the race version with all the RSGP MotoGP livery or paint scheme, whatever you want to call it. The thing is, this scooter is a very fun thing to ride. When you're riding it, when you open the throttle, the feeling is very apt. It's like a motorcycle's feeling. It doesn't have that power lag that is even there in some of the 150cc bikes that I've tested. And coming out of a scooter, that is really impressive, because when you open the throttle and when you close it down, it's not like that it's got a lot of power. When you're comparing it to a 150cc similar motorcycle, I wish we had a 150cc motorcycle side by side to test it out, but we don't. And but from my memory, what I can remember is this is not that strong as a 150cc motorcycle, but the feeling is sometimes better than what a 150cc motorcycle offers, which is a big thing. Now, power-wise, we'd have to do a 0 to 100 or maybe a 0 to 60, because I think in the urban setting, the 0 to 60 matters a lot more. They have tweaked up with the CVT, the automatic gearbox, to give it shorter ratio. That means the 0 to 60 timings should have improved. That is what Aprilia is claiming. The meter, on the other hand, no digital display, it's analog, it's got a nice carbon fiber pattern on it, and I like that. I like this simple retro look with a bit of carbon fiber. This scooter is meant to go fast. It's not supposed to give you those extra features like the remote boot opening or a ton of storage space inside under the seat. Basically, it stores in a half helmet, but I'm wearing the AGV's GT Veloce, which is a big full face helmet, so that will not go in. So I would have wanted a full face helmet to go in, honestly, because this is a performance scooter and a lot of people who will be riding it will be I hope they're using full face helmets, because I absolutely hate half helmets. I don't like them at all. So of course I'm wearing the race suit. I wanted to wear the race suit ever since I saw Alvaro Bautista test this thing on the track wearing the suit. I mean, call me crazy, it's a little funny, but this is how I wanted to test it. I almost tried to downshift. And I hit nothing. That was pretty weird. And like, the handlebars are smaller. I'd like to have them a little bit wider maybe, because otherwise it feels completely like a motorcycle, especially since I'm sitting like one. And how much power does it have? There was some kind of a confusion over this motorcycle's power figures. Initially it was supposed to do 11.5 bhp with 11.5 newton meters of torque. On the ownership manual it's 10.5 bhp mentioned, and with 11.4 newton meters of torque. That number honestly doesn't impress you, and even when it's billed as the fastest scooter, when you're riding it is not like something which will completely thrill you out. If you're moving up from a scooter into this one, yes, the power is definitely a lot more. The throttle response is absolutely, bang on there, better than some of the 150cc commuter motorcycles that I've tested. But it is not a thrilling, powerful scooter if you're looking for that coming out of a motorcycle. But convenience-wise, I've ridden more comfortable scooters. The suspension on bad roads was really giving me a hard time on the wrists. Maybe it's not the best scooter to buy for convenience sake, but this is not a convenience sake thing. By the way, this pricing, if you're wondering, it's 97,000 on road Kolkata, and that includes tax, insurance and everything else, which is pretty expensive. You can buy a Pulsar 150, I think it'll be cheaper than that. So obviously it's a premium scooter. I'd like to find out the mileage, but we still don't have much data on it. It's a new scooter, just came out of the dealership 3 days back. And the best thing that I like is, unlike some of the scooters, this doesn't struggle to maintain a speed. Like, you wanted to do 80 kilometers per hour, it will go straight to 80, and it doesn't have that lag or the unwillingness that some of the scooters that I've ridden of 125cc seem to show when you're pushing the speedometer anything above 60. We've already discussed about the issue with the suspension, which is the weakest point on an otherwise great scooter. Some of the other things that did bother me was that the lack of combi braking as it's there in the Honda scooters, which also prevents wheel locks. In hard cornering, the front still feels light, and though at low speeds it feels like a motorcycle, at higher speeds the scooter origins show through, which is fine considering the fact that it does have an engine at the rear, so the front will be relatively lighter. The front suspension also just hops over bumps, and it is not at all a comfortable motorcycle to ride. I got pain in my forearms, and it causes a lot of rider fatigue when you're riding over bumpy roads for a constant scenario. So if your town has a lot of bad roads, this is probably not the scooter for you. Seat height is a bit too high, which might put off shorter riders, but at 5 feet 8 I was fine with it. Storage space is limited on this scooter, and it does have a nice hook to put on your grocery bags, but the under the seat storage is really small. I have also mentioned previously that the seat is a bit too soft for me, and I would have wanted a bit firmer. The plastics quality could have been better considering its price, and it's being pitched as a premium product. My final verdict is that this is a purchase from the heart, but the mind says that there are more convenient and more frugal options. At 35 kilometers per liter, I know a lot of riders will be staying away from it because we expect better mileage from scooters. Also, the suspension issue needs to be sorted out, and then I can safely recommend it to anyone who wants a scooter which packs in a serious punch. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Sorry this review took a long time to make. I just wanted my review to be perfect. Thanks for patiently waiting for me. We are about to hit 50,000 subscribers. Go ahead and subscribe if this is the first time on the channel, and make sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook.